I went over there with her, and I continue to pay my bills, my bills there, and then I would give her, something too for me, being over there. And she really didn't mind. She understood. And and then but I would go back to my, place like during the day or every now and then I would go back, I would go back there like every other day, during the day or whatever. And so I would just pretty much go to her, be at her house at night to stay at night because I didn't want to be there with my father. I did not trust him like that. And I remember when I would go back to it's a condo actually. I was staying in a condo. When I went back to my condo, the dishes was all messed up. Like my condo, it was like all messed up, like stuff everywhere, not clean. So I would go in there and clean it, wash the dishes, clean. And I didn't really say nothing to him. And that went on for like 6 months. And then I remember during this period, I was looking for another job. And at the time I didn't have any transportation. I didn't have any license. I didn't have no transportation. And so my daddy had transportation there. He had transportation. So I asked him this one time if he would take me to go. I wanted to go to the store. I needed to buy something. And then I also wanted to fill out an application that was like near the way. And so I had an interview. I remember I had an interview. And I like to get the stuff like that early, so the place that had an interview was right there in that plaza with the store where I was looking. And so I was in the store looking, and I'm sorry, the interview, the place for the interview, it wasn't right there in that plaza. It was kind of like across the street. It was like walking distance though. It probably was like 2 or 3 miles away. So when I was in the store looking around, my father said he was gonna stay in the car. So I'm looking at the time and I'm like, okay, I got what I wanted. And then I was like, okay, let me go back to the car. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I was purchasing something to take with me to purchasing something for my interview. That's what I was doing. I had purchased some stockings. That's what I had purchased, some stockings. And then when I went back outside, my daddy's car, it was gone. He was not in the parking lot. He was not in the parking lot, and then I waited, and then I had about 30 minutes to get to my interview. So I was like, let me just walk over here. So I just walked across the street. I walked across the street, and I had my interview, and I just prayed and was like, Lord, please, I didn't want the people to see I was upset or bothered or worried or anything. So I I took that off and I put on a big smile, like it was just, like I was just having the best day ever, like the best day of mine. So I masked it. And I went in there and I had an interview, and I actually got the job. I actually got the job. And so, I went back across the street, and my father was not. He wasn't there. He wasn't there, and he didn't have a cell phone either. And I didn't even have a cell phone that I can remember. No, I didn't, because I remember I would make calls from my house. I had like a landline or the payphone or a payphone. And so I went back to where he dropped me off at to go into the store, and he was not there. I waited for about an hour. I didn't see him, so I walked all the way back. I walked all the way back to my house, and that was like an hour walk. It was like an hour walk. It took me like an hour to walk. And then when I got back there, he was there at my apartment at the condo. And I asked him about that, and I remember he told me that he came back out there and he didn't see me. That he drove around and he didn't see me. He didn't know where I was, so he just came back there because he thought maybe I had came back there. I didn't even say nothing. And then I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't know how I believe that. And even though I knew what I seen, it's like I believed it. I believed it. I also remember why he was there. He told me that he was going to go and preach at a church, and he was invited to this church, and that he wanted me to go with him to support him, to go sing the songs and stuff like that. So I was like, well, okay. And I went with him to this church, and I remember in the car while we were riding there, he smelled like liquor. And he was just drinking out of this cup, just drinking and drinking, drinking a little drinking. And at first I'm like, nah, that can't be liquor. It was liquor. He was drinking. I smelt it on him. I seen it in the cup. It was like a little blue plastic cup. He was drinking out of it on the way to the church, drinking. About to get a word. And then when I went in there with him, it was only a few people there, but he was on that pulpit drunk, trying to preach. And I remember I just sat in the chair. I couldn't do nothing but this. I just shook my head. And I remember I did have to sing a few songs, and I was out of practice because I hadn't been up on like a pulpit singing songs, and I haven't been in that type of environment in a long time. I wasn't even living like I was supposed to even be in that type of environment. And I honestly didn't feel right going there supporting him or singing, because I know that I was not where I was supposed to be to even go and sing songs like that. And I know that in a ministry, when you're on a pulpit,